There was someone living inside the walls of my house. Me and a few of my friends from college ended up moving into our apartment a few years ago. Everyone brought in a bunch of basic stuff for the apartment, except for one thing that we all chipped in on: a huge TV for the living room. The TV was so big that we ended up having to mount it onto the wall. But this is when things started to go wrong. One night I was just sleeping and then I felt this abrupt shaking in my bed that eventually led to this huge crashing sound in the living room. All my roommates sprinted out to see what the sound was. And to our disappointment, when we came out to the living room, we saw that our brand new TV has just completely been shattered onto the ground. The city that our school is located in intended to be a hotspot for a lot of earthquakes. Unfortunately, we cleaned it up and then we have to throw the rest of the TV that we just bought away. The next few days are pretty normal, but we do notice that there's a little bit of a crack from the TV being ripped out of the wall. But the one weird thing I noticed is that my roommate became oddly obsessed with the crack that was in the wall. It started out with me seeing him in the middle of the day just sort of rubbing up around it and looking into it. His excuse in the beginning that he was just trying to figure out a way to patch it up. I mean, I thought that was a pretty valid reason. Then my whole perspective changed this one night. I woke up one night pretty thirsty, so I ended up going to the faucet to get a cup of water. As I'm getting the water, I hear a small sound and I look up into the living room and I swear I can see a shadowy figure just standing by the crack in the wall. I hear some movement towards the living room and I look up to see my roommate just staring into the crack in the wall. This startled me, so I asked him what exactly he was doing. He just looked at me with a blank stare and then ran back into his room and shut his door. So now I started to wonder what was really going on with that crack in the wall. Woke up the next morning and ran into him in the kitchen. I asked him what that was all about last night. He said he had no memory on what I was talking about. I brushed it off until the next day. My curiosity got the best of me and I decided to investigate myself the next night. The biggest mistake I could have ever made. After everyone went to bed, I turned my flashlight on and went to go see what was inside that crack. As I'm using my flashlight to look into the crack in the wall, I don't see anything initially. But immediately I feel like I hear someone whisper something. And I look over and there's just a glaring pair of eyes staring directly at me. I dropped the flashlight and I ran directly into my room and locked it. My first thought is to call the police, but then I hear my roommate knocking on my door.